Hey guys, my name is Robert Palmer and I am the owner and lead photographer of Brooktree Studios, and I was asked to come talk to you a little bit today about some different types of technology in the wedding photography field. And today for this video I'll be talking specifically about camera bodies. So I have three different types of camera bodies here to talk to you about, and there are a couple other types that I will bring up. I just don't have any actual examples. These are Canon bodies that I shoot with personally, so that's what I'll kind of be showing you, but all these features will be pretty much the same across all the different markets: Nikon, Olympus, Panasonic, Fuji, all the same. We'll talk about the difference between APS-C sensor sizes and the full frame sensor, and we're also going to talk about the difference between digital and film. So stay with me, be a few minutes, hopefully you learned something, and we will kick this off talking about film. Alright guys, I'll need you to excuse my desk mess a little bit here. I'm just kind of getting moved into a new place and haven't had quite a chance to find out where everything should go yet. So with this first camera, this is the Canon EOS 620, and it is an SLR, which is a little bit different from a DSLR. Can you guess why? Yes, the SLR is not digital. This is actually a 35mm film camera, and it looks strikingly similar to the 5D series, or Canon's kind of modern DSLR lineup. I'm sure you can tell. This camera actually came out in the 1980s, and it was kind of the first camera that set the framework for all future DSLRs from Canon. Why am I bringing up film in today's age? Who still shoots film? You'd really be surprised at the amount of, especially fine arts photographers, who still use film, especially this right here, Fujicolor 400H. This is an incredibly popular film for weddings, for families, for portraits, because the highlights, the colors, the dynamic range of film is so much more advanced than it is for digital. And while you don't have quite as much photo manipulation abilities as you do with digital, you'd be surprised at the amount of quality, I guess, that you can get out of shooting a roll of film. And it is a little more expensive to shoot film, of course. Every roll is going to be about $10 a roll, another $15 or so to develop it. And that's only 36 photos, whether you hit the focus or not. You really have to make sure to focus, to take that time, and to really make sure that the image you're creating is exactly what you want it to be when you shoot film. And I think that kind of has a certain aesthetic to it that digital just can't quite replicate. So for a lot of my customers, I do what's called hybrid photography, where I will shoot a few rolls of film alongside digital. That way I'm getting the best of both worlds, and my clients can see the little bit of difference that that film has. It's more of a timeless look, I feel. Now let's talk about digital cameras. Okay guys, so here I have a couple different bodies to show you that I pulled out of my collection. Here on the left is the Canon 5D Mark IV. This is my main camera. This is what I shoot 90% of my stuff on. Obviously, except for the video, I've got a different camera shooting that. The 5D Mark IV is probably one of the most popular wedding cameras that Canon makes, just because it is one of the most all-around performing cameras out there. It is, of course, full frame. This is the Canon SL1, the Rebel SL1. This was my very first camera that I bought all the way back in 2013. My very first digital camera, at least I should say. This camera is an APS-C camera, which means that the sensor inside is 1.6 times smaller than the 5D Mark IV, which has a full frame sensor. And you can really see the difference, especially if you put them side by side, just how big that 1.6 times difference is. Now, what does that mean for you as a photographer? The images that are created on the SL1 will be slightly zoomed in, 1.6 times, right? So if you're shooting with a 10mm lens on the Canon SL1, it's the equivalent to a 16mm lens on the Canon 5D Mark IV. Now, can you be a good photographer using an APS-C camera? Of course you can. Modern day APS-C cameras are far and beyond what anybody 20 years ago was using on their DSLRs. And if you could create great images from 20 years ago, then what's stopping you from using these today? The most important thing to remember when you're choosing a camera is to choose one that fits you the best. You also want to make sure that you leave yourself enough of a budget to purchase lenses. Lenses will make much more of an impact than any camera body.
I hope that you guys were able to learn something from today's video and some of the differences that Canon has between their full frame and APS-C bodies. In the next video, I want to talk a little bit about lenses. Here I have a few different types. We have a couple of zoom lenses and then a few of Canon's most popular prime lenses as well. So we'll kind of go over the differences between those and we'll see which ones will best complement your style of photography.